While out exploring the world of Red Dead Redemption 2, I would stumble across a campsite slightly north of Elysian Pool. The camper there, although a little hesitant, soon gave me an invitation to join him at his fire for some rest. Deciding to join him, I learned he would have an interesting tale to tell, something he's been obsessing about. It went as follows.
I'm sorry. I'm not myself these days. I don't know if you've ever had an obsession in your head. You know, something that takes a hold and won't let go. When I came to this country over 7 years ago now, I heard about this reward. Yes. Now I have your attention, see? A princess from Europe was lost here when she was a child 15 years ago. Her body was never discovered. Her country still has hope and is offering a lot of money to anybody who can bring her in. I've been looking for her ever since, on and off. A man told me to look in the town of Van Horn, so that's where I'm headed now. It's probably nothing again. For a man who lives like me, free and on the move, it's strange. I just can't let it go. But it feels, you know, unfinished. Anyway, I need to take my mind off this.
Welcome to the video. You're listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming, and today we're looking into the tale of the European princess who went missing some 15 years ago. During this, we'll be looking at some evidence, leads, potential suspects, and possible outcomes or explanations as to the disappearance of the young girl. The video is theory only, so please feel free to leave your thoughts on the events in the comment section below. If you enjoy what you see, be sure to hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share with friends and family, or anyone you may feel would be interested in content such as this. Please be aware, although relatively small, there may be minor spoilers ahead. With that being said, let's get straight into today's video. Red Dead Redemption 2, The Tale of the Missing Princess. As the obsessed camper stated, he had somewhat of a lead in the town of Van Horn, but before we head there to investigate, I want to show you all a newspaper article that can be found in a copy of the Saint Denis Times, issue 45. Headlined as Royal Kidnap, it goes on to read as follows. Reward offered for Princess Isabeau, Luxembourg Royal. 15-year anniversary of suspected kidnapping. In a royal proclamation, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg has issued a decree offering a reward of $1,000 for information resulting in the whereabouts of Princess Isabeau. The princess disappeared from a remote hunting lodge while on a hunting trip during a private family visit to the United States. She was 5 years old at the time. Some believe she was murdered, some that she was abducted and kidnapped, although no ransom note was ever received. Others pose it that she was eaten by wild animals. Her disappearance has been a source of never-ending trauma and embarrassment to the royal family, and especially her brother, who has frequently implored the American people to assist in finding information regarding her whereabouts, and himself denies any wrongdoing in her disappearance. While there have been rewards offered in the past, the most recent offering is the highest ever considered. It follows recent rumours that she had been taken to a small town in the United States. Princess Isabeau has a characteristic birthmark on her face and right hand. Anyone who suspects her whereabouts is encouraged to visit the local law enforcement. Following the lead from the camper, I headed to the town of Van Horn in the eastern region of Roanoke Ridge. In the centre of town, on the main road, posted upon the wall of the Old Light Saloon, I would find a reward poster detailing the disappearance of the princess, with a picture showing us what she looked like at around the age of 5 years old, 15 years prior to 1899. Interestingly, this reward poster offered only a $100 reward, compared to the newspaper in Saint Denis, which offered significantly more at $1,000. It also states that the blonde-haired princess had distinctive features, such as the birthmark on the left cheek and right hand. The footnote of the poster exclaimed that if found, please return her to the nearest sheriff's office. Players who have explored the town of Van Horn will notice that there doesn't seem to be any law of sorts, not a single officer nor a holding cell. The nearest form of authority is in the more northern town of Ansberg. Heading in to the saloon itself, sometimes the patrons would talk about the missing child.
Ain't seen you around here before. You ain't looking for that princess, is you? Had a few fellers through here recently asking about that. Chasing some reward for some European princess missing for 15 years now. Damn fools. Only princesses in Van Horn charged by the hour for less than a royal buck. Anyways, you clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
As we can see, the drunkard claims that there have been several people following this trail and believes anyone searching for Isabeau are fools. This is something we'll come back to later on. Feeling that there must be more to this town than just a reward poster, I found myself exploring the Van Horn trading post, owned and operated by one SILUS CRAWFORD, on the water's edge of town. The trading post is just a front, as SILUS operates a side business as a fence, but in this lawless town, that doesn't seem too surprising. But something very interesting and vital to our search is located to the rear of the store. Sat upon a table is a travelling chest. Engraved on both the front and top of it are the initials I.K.Z. Isabeau Katharina Zinsmeister. Further adding to this clue, there is also the Luxembourg coat of arms embedded on the front, the home nation of the princess. Surrounding this chest are several child's toys, including a couple of play dolls, a toy horse, a child's bicycle, and a bat and ball. Behind this, we can see the staircase leading to a second floor that has been blocked off and made inaccessible. Thankfully, with the use of a free cam mod, I was able to access the upper floor of the trading post. Unfortunately for us, there was nothing to be seen upstairs but a couple of empty shelves and a counter, indicating that this trading post may have once operated on a much larger scale. This is also something we'll come back to later. There's an unused audio file in the game, in which the store owner describes meeting the princess. I couldn't quite obtain this, but I can tell you what it said. It went as follows. That girl with the birthmark on her face was acting strange. Something about her, the way she speaks. This shows us that at some point, SILUS CRAWFORD had definitely met Isabeau, but it doesn't quite determine what age he was at the time. Using mods in the game, there is a character model for the princess, labelled under the cutscene section, indicating that this was potentially a deleted portion of the title, quite possibly a side quest. With this, we can now see just how Isabeau looks today, 15 years after her initial disappearance, with her now being around 20 years of age. The birthmarks upon her, or more specifically, the one on her face, may have a strange connection to another NPC of the game. In West Elizabeth, northwest of Strawberry, there is a man named Francis Sinclair. Those who have encountered this individual will understand just how strange he acts. The way he speaks appears to be plucked out of a different decade entirely. Many players speculate that Mr. Sinclair is a time traveller, but that's another story for another time. What's interesting about him in relation to today's topic is that he bears a very similar birthmark to that of Isabeau Katharina Zinsmeister. Players may recognise this from the Grand Theft Auto universe, in which the in-game cult, known as the Epsilon program, worship KRAFF, their respective god. Believers of KRAFF often feel that anyone who bears this mark carry a high honour within the religion and are to be treated with the highest of respect. They are thought to be gifted with special abilities, such as Francis Sinclair and his time travel. There isn't much more evidence to go on, so with the information we have, let's take a look at some potential possibilities as to what actually happened to the young princess. One thing that we haven't taken a look at is the possibility that she was taken by the MURFREE brood who roam around the area of Roanoke Ridge. On occasion, the MURFREEs would sometimes leave ransom notes, but the majority of their kidnappings are solely for pleasure. This could explain why the family of the girl had never received a word. The MURFREEs are a sadistic bunch of killers who don't discriminate on who they capture, so to assume it could have been them is plausible. Far away to the south, in New Austin, there is a ranch called VENTER'S Place, which has been taken over by the Del Lobo gang. Inside the cabin, upon the wall, is a framed photo of a middle-aged man with a much younger lady to his side. You'll notice that the lady is around 20 years old, has blonde hair, and has also hidden part of her face for the picture. This could indicate she is covering the obvious birthmark on her face, either because she may have been embarrassed by it or was ordered to do so. After she was kidnapped, she may have been taken far away from the northern regions to the south. The newspaper article claims that the latest rumours were that she had been taken to a small town somewhere in the United States. This could have been Armadillo, which is only slightly north of VENTER'S Place. To quote Arthur Morgan, when talking about the past, he stated that if you put enough time and distance between the problem, eventually it went away. This may have been someone's method of thinking. If you recall back to the patron at the Old Light Saloon, he stated that we weren't the first to be looking for the missing child, but anyone that does so was a fool. Why would someone state something so horrific and uncaring? It may have just been the ramblings of a drunken man, but it could also indicate that he had some form of connection with the disappearance, whether he was directly involved himself or at least knew something. This could be aided by the fact that the entire town of Van Horn is lawless. Silas Crawford, proprietor of the Van Horn Trading Post, certainly looks suspect. The travelling chest, surrounded by toys, is a major indication of his involvement. In the unused audio clip, as stated before, he did mention that he had met her previously, but this may have been removed to keep the mystery of the case in the game itself. When inspecting the second floor of the store, we could see that the trading post was much larger at one point. Maybe Silas had fallen into money troubles and snatched the princess in a desperate move, only to lose his confidence later on, regretting his actions, and chose to dispose of Isabeau instead of going ahead with the ransom. He could have easily sent her away on a ship, with the port being right on his doorstep, or simply drown the body in the waters. Next, we have the KRAFF theory, linking the Epsilon program from the Grand Theft Auto series. Could believers of KRAFF notice the distinctive birthmark on the face of Isabeau and decided that she should be with them? The Epsilon leaders are master manipulators, so they wouldn't have much trouble convincing a child to follow them, possibly believing that she may have abilities just like Francis Sinclair. Lastly, we have the family of the girl themselves. Referring back to the newspaper article, it stated that her disappearance had been the source of never-ending trauma, which is understandable, but what strikes me next is that it goes on to say that the royal family were embarrassed about the situation. For any parent whose child has gone missing, embarrassment would be the last thing on their minds. They will go to the ends of the earth to find their child, and not be concerned whatsoever with the judgmental opinions of others. Also, her brother is, or at least was, heading the search party, but himself denies any wrongdoing. Could this be a ruse to lead the public suspicion either away from himself or the family? For all of our suspicions, clues, and information, unfortunately, no one truly knows what happened to the young princess, whether she was taken deliberately or got lost on a trail somewhere and was attacked by the local wildlife. The disappearance of Isabeau Katharina Zinsmeister remains a mystery to this day. You've been listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming. Do you have any thoughts or theories as to what happened to Princess Isabeau? Be sure to let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's video and wish to see more content such as this, be sure to hit like, subscribe and turn on notifications to be the first alerted every time a new video is produced. You can find me on Instagram if you wish to get in touch. That's @Filbee Gaming. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.